So in today's session, we'll talk about AngularJS. The tagline for AngularJS is HTML enhanced for web apps. What it means is HTML is now these days enhanced to develop the web applications. Prior to this JavaScript frameworks, we used to have static HTML pages as to give it a dynamic behavior. We either have to use a JavaScript technology or we need to include some J2EE scripts inside this HTML5 file to give the dynamic behavior. But after developing this JavaScript frameworks, we have get the automatic dynamic behaviors to the HTML files. And AngularJS is one of the frameworks which actually provides this functionality. So there are many application frameworks in JavaScript like Backbone, Ember.js, Knockout, and others. This requires developer to extend from JavaScript objects that are specific to their framework. This approach is having its own pros and cons, but we need frameworks to help us close this gap between JavaScript and HTML. And AngularJS is actually this gap. AngularJS is written by some cool guys from Google, and now it is maintained by Google to build properly architectured and maintainable web applications, which is probably one of the bigger causes of its success. Prior to going in detail to this technology, we'll see that what is the agenda for this today's session. The first point is introduction to this course. In this agenda, we'll discuss what is AngularJS, why do we need this AngularJS, and what are the benefits of this JavaScript frameworks. After that, we will see that how to get started with this technology, that is AngularJS, how to download the various different types of files of this AngularJS, the minified one, the debugging one, and the regular one. After including this AngularJS to your HTML file, how to write a hello world example. After this getting started session, we'll see the fundamental building blocks of AngularJS, which are known as filters, directives, and data binding. These are the basic concepts while developing web application in AngularJS. So these are the very basic and important points in AngularJS. After that, we'll see the application architecture. How you can build an application with a model view controller. This is again a very basic feature which needs to be known from a developer's perspective, that how to architect an application which is very easy to maintain, reuse, and develop the application. After completing this application architecture, we'll talk about working with data, how to bind your data which comes from server to your front-end application, that is factory style, and interaction with the servers. Once we'll complete the working with that data, we'll see that how to debug your application. This is again the very basic and very important point to learn any app JavaScript framework. If you have to rectify any issue in your application, then you must have to know this way of debugging your application, which actually resolves your application's issue in a very less time. The last point will be unit testing. Once you will develop your application, then there is a unit testing which is very must to be tested your application, whether it is functionally implemented well or not. And in the very last, we'll see the summary of this demo.